Currently in Lugano. It is so beautiful here, and obviously we have our friend Satoshi. And I was trying to think about what I wanted to say without kind of being rude, because the last couple videos have been extremely rude. And I kind of realized, I'm gonna sit over here. I kind of realized how important, I was on the train here, and I kind of realized like how important volatility is. Volatility heals a lot of speculative behavior that the fiat system has conditioned into you. The fact that we believe that we've got to sit here and be speculators, the fact that we've got to sit here and believe that in order to have a good life, what you need to do is speculate on stocks, speculate on crypto, speculate on real estate, speculate on these things after having paid the taxes to earn the money in the first place. You then have to become a fucking speculator just to have the life and maintain the value of the sacrifice that you've made to actually earn that money. That is a corrosion of the human spirit, and that's what Bitcoin is designed to fix, because it is designed as a way for you to protect the energy that you have. And the problem is most people aren't going to realize that, because most people don't have excess energy, right? Most people don't have excess energy to protect. But Satoshi is given a way for those that do to have a way to protect that energy. And your lifelong legacy that you may want to pass on to people, to your children, to family members, to anyone who carries your last name. So that's what Bitcoin is. But volatility is extremely important because it shakes out people. It shakes out the corrosive, addictive behavior of fiat that has been conditioned into all of us. To me too. Starting in real estate, starting all these things, it was all speculation, right? It's all speculation to try and maintain wealth and grow wealth. And then the most corrosive part of that speculation is the fact that you start believing that investing is actually earning, right? There's two parts to this. There's the earning part, which is the part where you create some kind of value. And then there's the investing part, which is where you kind of figure out how to maintain your value. And Bitcoin kind of heals that, because at least you don't have to do the second part. You can actually focus on the thing that actually is going to make humanity better, which is creating some kind of value. At some point, we can get to a world where you can focus on creating value because you have something that's going to protect your wealth, and you don't need to be a speculator. Because if you have unlimited amounts of money printing, people just get conditioned into speculating, right? It's just something that happens. People just get conditioned into becoming speculators. And then you have places where massive amounts of wealth is owned, and then the more fiat you print, people with the haves with the assets continue to get wealthier, and everyone else kind of struggles as the wealth is further and further diluted, or the currency is further and further diluted. And you know, Bitcoin is going to be the most polarizing haves and have-nots asset that we've ever seen, because it makes having and having not absolutely permanent. I think people don't realize with real estate. So my dad got into real estate in London, and let's say I wasn't in a good enough position to be in real estate in London. I was, simply because of the way the fiat system works. I could buy property with no money down, right? So let's say I couldn't do that. Well, I can still move to a different city. There's an unlimited amount of real estate potential in the world, because I can still move to a different city and take advantage of real estate. The next city, the next thing, the next stock, the next this, the next that. With Bitcoin, it is now permanent. The scarcity is absolutely permanent. So you don't have the ability to become a have if someone in your bloodline chose to be a have-not. And that is terrifying. That should be terrifying. But most people don't understand it because they don't have any excess energy to protect in the first place. So how do you become a have, if you don't have the excess energy to put anywhere. And so most people are looking at people running around being wealthy, living in Switzerland, Dubai, blah blah blah. Don't realize the thing you need to focus on is increasing your earnings. And then once you increase your earnings, you now have something to put it into, which is Bitcoin, which is not a speculative asset. It's a savings tool. And you have some way to actually protect your value. This is awesome, by the way. If you've never been to Lugano in Switzerland, I don't even know if you can even see that because of the exposure. There we go. Wait, hold on. There you go. But it is stunning here. Maybe I should make this my second home. That's what I'm thinking. That's the feeling I've been getting. There's a couple cities that I like, a couple cities that I don't like. Maybe I should make this my second home. But look, this is the permanence. This is the permanence arc. The haves and the have-nots. This is the final asset cycle. This is the final asset. We've evolved from gold, which has basically unlimited supply as soon as you could dig it out of the ground. We went to real estate, which basically, completely controlled by governments on how much you can build, permits, etc., etc. So it's not a finite asset, but it's treated as one because of the amount of dollars that we print. And then we have equities, right? We have equities. Throw enough billions of dollars into VC and you're going to find a unicorn, and you get piled into that unicorn. And then once every, 20 to 30 years, you find a new innovation. Everyone piles into that. Right now, that's going to probably be AI. Don't know. So, then the next thing will show up, and the next thing, and the next thing. And the more stocks you buy, the more stocks you sell, real estate you buy, the more real estate you sell, the more corroded your soul gets if you're not doing it because you believe in the future that it's creating. And Bitcoin fixes that. Bitcoin allows you to find a place to put your energy, wait for that energy and protect its value, wait for that energy to get to a point where you can actually say, okay, I want to commit to this. This is what, God, the universe, whatever, is telling me. This is the direction God is telling me to move. And now I'm going to take that energy that has been protected and execute in X direction. That's what Bitcoin does. It allows you peace and patience until you are ready, until the calling is true. And what do? We sit there and we fuck it up because we just get into speculations. As 90% of traders lose money. So I got people telling me, oh, this trader made this amount of money. It's like the trader that said, okay, we're going to hit 82 something thousand. And he did it, hit it nail on the head. And my instant reaction was, well, do it again. And he tried to do it again, said $444,000 Bitcoin, November 11th or something like that. And of course, it's a complete and utter disaster because traders can win once or twice. The real wealth, the wealth that Switzerland is built on, the wealth that, the real wealth, the belly of the wealth of the earth, is owned and controlled by hodlers. There is very, very few traders that can stay successful and be right over and over and over and over again. So I've never wanted to be a trader. I'm a terrible trader. I have an activity bias. I'm human, just like everybody else. And so, my 0.5, here's my advantage. I'm very good now at figuring out what percentage I should risk on my activity bias. So my 0.5% allocation into Bitcoin treasury companies, Bitcoin treasury sacks of shit, this time around was, it feels kind of stupid right now, but it was a manageable risk, right? There's morons that retail that has basically liquidated 50% of their Bitcoin, were watching too many YouTube videos, and aped 50% of their fucking net worths into these things because they're addicted to speculation, which is the one thing that Satoshi wanted to fix and the one thing that Bitcoin does fix, right? And even when you look at, we've spoken about MSTY, for example. MSTY, I've said it on multiple videos and spaces and interviews and everything else. 5% allocation MSTY, it's down. Just like MSTR is down, right? And I don't consider Monster, MSTR, the behemoth, the flagship, as part of my Bitcoin treasury portfolio. So I have Bitcoin, MSTR, a slew of treasury sacks of shit, Bitcoin treasury sacks of shit. and MSTY and a couple of other speculative positions. But the activity bias is absolutely controlled because the majority of the portfolio is in everything else. Why? Because we are about to lock in permanence. We are about to make having and having not absolutely permanent. So I want you to remember that. And it's been a pleasure to come to Lugano here and see Satoshi. And, the fact is, I really should move here. The fact is that ultimately, I can't shout because there's kids around. Kids everywhere on one of these videos. That's why I like doing it in my studio. I can shout as much as I want. The fact is, there's always only 3 rules to Bitcoin. Step number 1, you buy Bitcoin. Step number 2, shut the fuck up. Step number 3, you get fabulously wealthy.